Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting edition of Think Tank Sports. Think Tank Sports, where we think and you listen. Check us out on socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We have a whole ton of content out there right now as we're plowing through our baseball podcasts. Listen to us on Spotify for podcasts for Spotify. Geez, I still can't get that right.
You'll get it, buddy.
I'll get it eventually. Formerly Anchor or wherever you get your podcasts, and watch us on YouTube as we continue to do the YouTube thing. Please let us know how you think we're doing with that. So yeah, we've got some other baseball podcasts out there. So please take a listen or watch us, however you like to consume your Think Tank Sports media. We'll take it any which way. And so now we're looking at the National League East, a pretty top heavy division. I think you could make that argument. And of course, we bring back our good friend of the program and resident Mets fan, Tony Otero. And Tony, how the heck are you this evening as you're driving in the car home from work?
Yes, I'm on the New Jersey Turnpike. These Jersey drivers are absolutely out of their minds. However, I'm fine. I'm doing well. I think that I have recovered fully from last year's shenanigans and looking forward to another year. And I can tell you that I gauge how excited I am when I decide to buy the PlayStation 5 game, the show, MLB The Show.
Yep.
So I've already bought it. I haven't played it yet. It's a lot of tons of stuff, good stuff, including some Negro League baseball players that I can't wait to sort of sink into. So, but yeah, I'm excited.
Wow, I did not know that they had Negro League players on that. That is amazing. First time, and obviously long overdue. Some great Negro League players that deserve some video game time. So we'll be excited to hear from you.
Hopefully their families will be compensated for their likeness and image too.
You know what? You're not wrong about that. I have to look that up. This would be something I can actually write a blog about. So stay tuned for that.
Yes, you certainly could.
Tag us and we'll share it too.
Absolutely. So the other voice that you hear, of course, is Mike. I've been getting criticized this week for not introducing him, not giving him enough space.
Wow.
Even though he takes up quite a bit all by himself.
Whoa,
Mike, how the heck are you?
Out the gates early with the fat jokes.
Oh, yeah.
Pick on the handicap person day on the podcast. Wonderful.
Wow. Feisty tonight.
Absolutely. Tony, welcome back. Always great to have you, but allow, before we get to the little brothers in the metropolitan New York area, we have some big brother business that I think you'll enjoy listening to and even weighing in on.
Sure.
Dave, superstar Derek Jeter prototype 2.0, Anthony Volpe was issued a uniform number.
Oh, yes.
Number 11.
Yes.
Who was the last New York Yankee to wear number 11?
Oh, Brett Gardner.
Brett Gardner. Is Brett Gardner retired officially?
Well, I mean, at this point, if he comes back, he's got to have another number.
I had to listen to New York radio today. I guess I didn't have to because I have the ability to change this channel.
Yes, yes, you do.
People calling into the Michael K show losing their minds because the Yankees gave out number 11 so quickly.
Wow.
What are they supposed to do? I mean, hold it in abeyance for 30 years because Brett Gardner wore it?
Yeah,
I mean,
and
he's a nice player, but
I told my oldest son earlier today, arguably one of the most overrated Yankees of all time, Brett Gardner.
Sure. Absolutely.
I agree.
Wow, hold on. Wait a minute.
Yankee Stadium agrees. Yes,
Stop the presses. Tony and I agree about something.
Yeah, really.
Well, if we're overrated Yankee players, I think we would agree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, for sure.
Listen, keep Shane Spencer's name out your mouth while we're talking here.
Yeah.
But let's get
Uh,
To the little brother.
yeah, let's get to the little brothers.
Oh, actually, Dave, you wanted to ask Tony something before we got into the Mets about
Jesus.
the rules. No, this isn't that bad.
Oh yeah, no, just we did a thing on the rules changes, Tony, and so just in Major League Baseball. So just wanted just kind of an off the cuff. There's all the rules changes. You know, what are your initial thoughts? Is that, you know, is there something in particular that you like, don't like? Just wanted to give you, you know, a couple minutes to just talk about the rules changes and what you think is going to happen this year.
I think, well, let's talk about if I like it or not. I think that the jury for me is still out on the rules changes. I'm more of a baseball traditionalist. I get the games are long, but I think when you start messing with some of the core rules, you're going to get some wonky stuff happening. You know, especially all the rule changes all at once. I get the pitch clock, but then you make the bases bigger. You know what I mean? And I laugh because
and kill the
that's
shift.
going to change the dynamic. Yeah, the shift is gone. Like those are three major things. You know what I mean? And I laughed at the commercial with Buck Showalter and
Vogelbach.
Oh yes, and stealing bases, because you know what? That's exactly what's going to happen, because people are going to mess up this pitch thing, and I think that people are going to play games, and I don't know. I think we really, it's the jury's really out on this for me. I get the shift, but the bases, I mean, they're just doing too much.
The one they're going to mess up early is only thrown over to second twice, and the mechanics that's the one I really, as you said, changing the fundamentals of the game. That one really bothers me as a traditionalist as well. But we'll move on to the clown show on the field. That is the New York Mets. Admittedly, actually,
thanks for that.
The 101 win clown show, New York Mets, by the way.
And I had, I know no one cares about your fantasy baseball team, but I did find myself with an inordinate amount of Mets on my team this year. So I can't really trash them all the way. But let's talk
not until they start underperforming.
Yeah, yes, you can. Yes, you can.
You're right. I feel like I have the ability. I appreciate that.
The only thing that I will not tolerate is anybody talking about, you know, our closer getting injured. That was unfortunate. You know, we're all upset about that. You know what I mean? I mean, he's such a major component. Yeah. It's going to affect, I believe it's going to affect the win record. I still think they're going to win a lot of games, but that one kind of hurt because it wasn't unfair. And then there was this unfair talk about the World Baseball Classic because some of those games were just incredible. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And yes, injuries suck, but that's the only thing. I won't tolerate anything about, you know, our favorite closer.
I won't talk about the injury then, but don't you think it's instant karma for the Horns? I mean, the Horns thing was ridiculous last year, and then they did it in the World Baseball Classic when he came.
Well, this is how I feel about the Horn thing. I think it made
fun
baseball exciting. While, It made baseball exciting for a lot of Met fans, and I think that people really start missing out on how much fun baseball can be. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? People talk shit all the time. That's fine. But if him playing horns is going to bring more people to the stands or not, or whatever, it's fine. You know what I mean?
Or just put a smile and right. 5 minutes of fun in a serious situation.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. But I will also say is he was devastating on the mound. Yeah. And nobody could take that away from him. Now, if people started smacking home runs like the first year he joined us, then the Horns probably not a good idea. Yeah. You know what I mean? But when Mariano Rivera, and I'm not comparing the two, but when Mariano Rivera came out to enter Sandman, that was a whole different level. No one was really saying, you know what I mean? And he deserved it.
And he kept earning that song, so to speak. Yeah, good. That's a great point as usual.
Mm-hmm. So the question I think for me then, who steps into that role, right? And what are, you know, obviously there's not going to be expectations of performance at that level as a closer? We know how Buck handles his bullpen. Are we going to see a closer by committee? What?
No, yeah. I think knowing Buck Showalter, we're going to see closer by committee. And I will tell you, I knew the Mets were in trouble when they started bringing this dude in the 8th inning in August.
Oh yeah. Oh, we texted about that. I remember that.
Yeah, we lived through Adam Ottavino on the Yankees. We know what you went through.
Oh my God! Yes, we won a lot of games, but he likes to play with this idea of, well, maybe I can get the extra outs where I can. And I think that messes the dynamic. So I think you're going to see a bullpen by committee. It's going to be whoever's got the hottest hand.
Yep.
Will probably be the temporary closer until they blow a couple of games. And they are going to blow a couple of games.
Well, sure. I mean, sure. The team is, was set up to rely on Diaz at the back end. So, there's going to be some growing pains there for sure. As far as that goes, but, we've talked about, bullpen, but, let's talk about, the starters. I mean, obviously, you have Scherzer. Now they go out and get Verlander, and he's okay. He's 40 years old, but he's actually, and, as to this point, we know that there's no, steroids or anything going on with Verlander, but you think about pitchers at this age, he's way beyond what Clemens was doing at that time. He's a tremendous addition to the pitching staff.
I don't trust any one of them. I will tell you that right now. I do.
Good.
And I'm going to look, because now you're going to put me on a rant with fucking Scherzer. Okay. And I'm sorry I curse, but let me tell you something. With Scherzer, he came here as a big game player. He had 2 games he needed to win, and he blew them both.
And he blew both of them. Yep.
He blew both games. So I don't really trust how good Verlander is. And I know that's crazy to say. I know it is, because Verlander is amazing. Yeah. But as it always is, you put on that Met uniform, and all of a sudden you forget how to pitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just the history of this franchise. Yeah. But the other thing is that when does it become too much? You know what I mean? When does the feeling of carrying a team on your shoulder get to a point where it starts affecting the way you pitch? Because I think Scherzer had a lot of pressure on him.
Oh, absolutely, he did.
We can call Jacob deGrom in Texas and ask him when enough becomes too much.
I'm not going to talk about deGrom, but
no, we'll leave that go.
Right,
you done going off, King? I'm sorry.
I'm done going off on Scherzer, but it was just, that was the most thing that I was so annoyed with, was you really were here for 2 games and you blew them both. All you had to do was either beat Atlanta or beat San Diego, and you couldn't do either. Right. And you're supposed to be a big game pitcher, and I know he's going to play around with these pitching rules, fine, whatever. But now he has to prove to me that he can do this. I'm sure he can. He's got the ability. Yep. Verlander is the same way. You have to come in here, and we are no longer going to rely on your past efforts. That's in the past. You were great last year, but can you repeat? I don't know. We are in such a tough division. The Braves don't care who's on the mound. They will definitely try to hit as many home runs as possible. The Phillies, all of a sudden, who got really hot in the end, even though we were kicking their ass all year, they have a bomb squad. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if you make one mistake, your 1-0 lead becomes 6-1 very quickly. You know what I mean? And I think that's just the way the division is. That's just the way the division is very tough. So yes, we can have these veteran pitchers, but it's different pitching in New York, no matter if it's for the Yankees or the Mets.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because that is exactly what it is. And, just people coming in, and you've just got to be able to handle being in New York, and, Scherzer, issues. And now we'll see with Verlander. And I think you speak for a lot of Met fans, Tony, when you say you got to prove yourself. We don't care that you've won 2 Cy Youngs and, you did all this stuff, and you won World Series in Houston and all this other. No, you got to prove it in New York.
Right. Because New York is it's just tougher to play in. Yeah.
It is. It is, and we've seen, on both the Yankees and Mets side, pitchers flame out, and because of all of that. I really like the rest of the rotation, though. Peterson and Carrasco are going to eat up innings, and and be as effective as they were last year for you, or better, I think. And then I'm not familiar with who is it, Kodai Senga. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with his baseball abilities, but seems to be the fifth starter going in. Correct, Tony?
That's correct.
Okay. But I think that's a strong 5-4 anyway, compared to most teams that are 2, maybe 3 deep at starters. So while your bullpen might be struggling, I think you're going to be okay, at least early, until somebody emerges as a closer. My concern with the roster, Tony, is I look at the infield, and at every position, Luis Guillorme is listed as the backup, and he's a nice little player, but that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean,
but he hit 194 last year. 194.
Yes, I know.
He can pitch.
But despite that, the thing is, defense does help, though. I mean, he's a great infielder.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm never going to take anything away from his glove.
Mm-hmm.
But yes,
who's going to rest these guys and
Well, I mean, there's a lot of controversy with, the Mets not bringing up some of their younger players. I mean, Brett Beatty, for example, I think could really use some more major league time.
Sure.
I think that, he bedazzled everybody because I think his first hit was like a home run. It was great. And then he was sucking wind for a while, but then he also got hurt.
Right.
And, and that's just the way it is with rookies. So I think we do have some issues with our offense. I think we've always had issues with our offense. The Mets always love pitching, but just can't get enough hitting.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a fan of Guillorme being the backup to everyone. I'm really not.
Yeah, I'd like to see at least another utility player or some corner bopper or something,
And let me say something. Get rid of Darren Ruff. What the fuck is
they
that
cut
about?
him.
Oh, they did. Yes, they did. Yes.
Thank you. See, prayer works.
Yeah, they did. They cut him, and they brought in Tim LeCastro.
Okay.
Old friend.
Old Yankees friend Tim LeCastro.
Did this happen today?
Yes.
When did this happen? Okay.
Yeah, it happened today. Yep.
That happens when you work.
Yep. Yeah. It was very late in the day. I just caught it before we came on. So yeah. So he's
breaking
out.
news here on Think Tank Sports.
Yep.
Well, thank you for that.
Breaking
news.
No
wonder. One of my favorite players in all of Major League Baseball, and one of my top picks on my fantasy team. There I go again.
There it is.
Sterling Marte. Love that guy.
Oh God, I love this guy.
Yeah.
Love him. Yes.
And with the new rules, I think he's going to just explode stealing bases, and we're going to see him chase, 40-40s. Like Canseco and A-Rod and those guys, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I heard Tom Verducci today talking about some of the rules changes with the bases and stuff. And he said, some teams aren't going to take advantage of it right away because they don't have the players on their roster to do it. And the teams that do are going to be successful. And you look at a Starling Marte, even though, at 34, still, feisty, obviously. Sure. And I mean, the 18 steals last year, I would think he's going to at least double that.
Right.
Absolutely. I might cut out here, but go ahead.
You're all good. So, generally we think the team's going to do very well in the NL and the NL East. Dave, you want to run us through the over-unders? And if he cuts out, I'll certainly love to hear myself talk for a while.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay. What I was saying was I think that Starling Marte is the catalyst of this offense.
Yes.
I think he definitely made the Mets watchable for sure. In the beginning months when we didn't know what we had.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
It's just, when he got hurt, that's when you really saw his importance.
Right.
And other people stepped up.
But he makes Alonso better. He makes top of that order better. Just what he can do on the bases and with the bat. So we're all big fans of his.
All the way around,
us, buddy.
Yeah, so the New York Metropolitans, as they're called, 94.5 wins from Vegas Insider. Tony, what do you think? You think they're going to be over that, under that? That feels about right.
I don't think they'll get 100 wins. I really don't. I think they're probably going to be under 100, but 94 feels right. I think if they go over that, it's probably by a game.
Yeah.
But I think it's tough with the division we have.
Yes.
But there's going to be so many teams that the Mets are just going to scrape. I mean, that's
Right.
the way, there are teams that are going to be bottom feeding. But for some reason we end up losing to the Marlins, but that's neither here or there. But yeah, that sounds about right to me.
Okay. The Atlanta Braves.
Dave, I'll take the
yes.
under.
I'm sorry, Mike. You're taking the under on the Mets.
Thank you for asking.
Yes. Sorry.
I just don't think they can sustain the back end of the bullpen that long and wear out the older starters. And why would you for 110 wins when your goal is to get to the playoffs and win the World Series? So
yeah. Yep. No, I agree. That number feels about right to me, 94.5. I might take the under and go to 94 or slightly over 95. I feel
maybe,
yeah, the number's good. The Atlanta Braves, as I'm wearing the Atlanta Braves hat, because I coached my daughter's little league team a few years ago and we were the Braves, 96.5. So Vegas Insider says slightly better than the Mets. They win 2 out of 3 in a late series and it pushes them over the top. Tony, what do you think?
I think it's the Braves division to lose, to be quite honest. I think the Mets have, despite its wins, its momentum from last year, they have not proven even to its fans that they can beat the Braves for that division. So it's really up to the Braves to lose this. I mean, I would like to say, yeah, they're going to get like 89 wins, but I mean, the Braves, the one thing the Braves did that was just annoyingly good was that 15 game winning streak they had in the middle of the year, where the Mets pretty much had them dead and buried, and all of a sudden the Braves can't lose. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Their roster is ridiculous. Even though they lost some folks, it's still a ridiculous roster.
Right. Dansby Swanson is no longer there.
But
that doesn't matter.
Cunha comes back healthy. Their pitching staff is deep and effective. What do you guys think the Braves' legacy overall? Won the World Series with Freddie Freeman, but certainly underachieved in the Glavine Smoltz era, but really sustained excellent organization for a long time now. Do they need another World Series appearance to step into rarefied air of Dodgers, Yankees,
Cardinals,
Red Sox, Cardinals, Cubs?
Yeah, I mean, we all know baseball, and baseball's all about the number of titles that you win. So, I think that we can all make the jokes about how, with Glavine and Maddox, that they were great. You know what I mean? But how many did they just happen to run into a hot Yankees team those years? But I mean, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's like when you think about the Bills, here they are making Super Bowl appearances in the 90s, but they got nothing. Are they still a great team? I think people will say yes, but other people will be like, but how many rings did they get?
Right.
So I think for them to be really rarefied, they need to start winning more. And I mean, that's just the bottom line.
No, that's a great analogy to the football situation. So even though
the Braves, yes, I'm deeply offended, but that's okay. I've taken shots.
You have the Braves hat on, so you.
Yes, I've taken shots at both of you tonight, so I deserve it. Back the other way. The Braves are looking to win their 6th straight NL East title, which is nice. That's great. They had that long streak. What was it, 15 or 16 straight division titles? In the 90s and early 2000s. I completely agree. They need to get not only another appearance, because those 90s Braves had other appearances. They just didn't win.
They just win.
They need another title. There's no two ways around that from my perspective. 96.5 feels about right to me. they could go, up a few or down a few from there. But I agree, Tony. It's their division to win. Mike, what say you?
Oh, thanks, Dave. I think under. I think that they're going to be more like 94. They are going to eke out the Mets. But I think that with the balanced schedule, the NL East doesn't traditionally do great against the American League.
True. True.
They're, it's going to be more attrition as well with one of the top 3 teams in this division. I just don't see anybody running towards 100, so
That's
I'll
also
say
true.
slightly under.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. Where we're going next, buddy?
Yeah, the Phillies are third there at 89.5. Phillies, as we know, Rhys Hoskins recently hurt.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's gone for the year. Now, I did read that Bryce Harper, they did not put him on the 60-day IL, so he could potentially come back earlier, coming off Tommy John surgery. Obviously they add
for a while.
Yeah, DH for a while. Obviously with Trey Turner on the team. I mean, oh my gosh. Like, did you really want to see Trey Turner in your division if you're a Mets fan? No, you do not.
No.
So 89.5 for the Phillies. I mean, they've got some good starters, the bullpen, Rob Thompson, did a great job in the playoffs with the bullpen. You think about Alvarado, just got used too much at the end of the year and just had nothing left in the World Series, which was unfortunate. But
Zach Eflin and all those guys.
I mean, this is definitely
put them in and they were good.
Yeah, this is definitely a team that's there. Boy, 89. I might take a slight over. Maybe they're at 90. Tony, what do you think?
89 feels low, to be quite honest. And I will say this, and this is the caveat here. The whole under and over thing with the Braves and the Mets really depends on the Phillies and how they play. Because the only reason why the Mets and the Braves ran away was because the Phillies were not good for the first, 6 months?
Yeah, really.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they
90% of the season.
barely made the playoffs.
Yep.
But if we see the same Phillies that we saw in the postseason, everyone's in trouble. Everyone.
Yep.
So 89 feels low, but I can't imagine 3 teams with 90 wins.
Right.
I think they'll definitely make the wild card for sure. But it might be slightly over, maybe 90, but 89 feels low for a team we all know has such potential. And that's even with Rhys hurt.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mike?
Because Trey Turner, that dude was not, he was on all cylinders in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Completely on fire.
I think under again, for many of the same reasons I said to the other 2 teams about attrition, but also I think we can all agree they were playing 10% over their heads in the playoffs at least last year. And water finds its level, regression to the mean, whatever phrase you want to use. And then add the injuries to their MVP and Harper and their heart and soul and Hoskins, just 87, a really good baseball team. And when they get in the playoffs, if they're healthy, you're gonna
regret playing
see them.
Right.
So that's my feeling on that one, buddy.
Yeah. The Miami Marlins, they have at 75.5. This is a team that, made some moves. They got Luis Ariz. They got who seems like an ancient Johnny Cueto to be in their pitching staff. They have the, Alcantara, the defending Cy Young Award winner. They got Jazz Chisholm in the outfield. They have some players on this team. It's not
enough.
It's not without some merit, but when you look at Atlanta and you look at the Mets and you look at Philly and then you compare them to Miami, like you said, Tony, there's just not enough there. And these teams are going to beat up on the Marlins a little bit. 75.5, because I've been kind of saying these other ones. I'm going to go under the 5.5 on the Marlins.
Tony?
Yeah, I'm gonna go under on the Marlins. Yeah, definitely. I'd be surprised if they can. I'd be surprised if they get 70. So I would say, you know what, they'll get maybe 69 wins. And that's
Magic number,
terrible.
69.
That's
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds
understand.
terrible, but I think it's one of those things where they just don't have enough.
Mhm.
And again, the really the wild card of the division of the Phillies. So has the Phillies rise and grow will depend on how the Marlins do. So
I
That's
don't
my opinion.
understand why you guys are laughing about 69 wins, but you can explain to me off air.
Yep, off. That's an off-air
Luis
combo, yep.
Ariza's home run call, of course, for John Sterling would be all around.
All arise.
Yeah.
all arise, right?
Wow.
Yes. Terrible team. And only because Nationals are in this division, their numbers that high. So no, hard under for me.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
And
also true.
so
Yeah.
you look at the Washington Nationals tied with the Oakland A's for the lowest win total over under at 59.5. That's a pretty rough year, 59.5.
That's a full
Jeez.
2.5 games under 500. No, under 100 wins or
Losses.
over losses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh
never
yeah.
mind. I was
That's
gonna stop
yeah.
talking.
Yeah. Their pick that. I mean, that's a team. That's,
103 losses.
yeah.
If you take the under.
Yeah. I mean, when you're looking at the team and they're talking about the veteran presence of Dominic Smith at first base. And I like him. He had a good year with the Mets.
Yeah. I always thought he would be better.
But
I know Tony probably says that too, right?
No, they can keep him.
right. So
I always thought he'd be better. Yeah. And he just
so if
never-
you're looking,
They
if you're
can
looking
absolutely
at,
keep Donovan Smith. Yeah.
yeah, so he's your veteran presence. I think, you've got some concerns there. They got Sonny Gray in the rotation. I mean,
Wow. All right, I'm taking it under even at 15.5. There's nothing else. Can someone get Davey Martinez out of there?
oh
I mean,
gosh.
he's the last, last bastion of what once was, and it wasn't that long ago, really,
No.
that they won it all. Crazy.
No, it wasn't. It's funny. I was reading about them and it's crazy. Steven Strasburg's still on the roster and no conversation about him pitching at all. Like talking about their
Nope.
starters and Strasburg nowhere to be found. They're talking about Patrick Corbin.
Yikes.
Yeah, no Strasburg.
Tony, we've been running all of our guests through a little bit of a quiz here to finish off our MLB preview podcast. I'm just going to name, I got ESPN's power rankings up for this season that they published yesterday or the day
Yep.
before.
Yep.
And I'll just give you the team name and you tell me yes or no. Can they win the World Series? Can you picture them winning the World Series this season? Okay. And we'll see how many you come up with compared to others. Of course, their number one team is the Houston Astros. Can they win the World Series, Tony?
Jesus Christ. Yes.
Yeah. San Diego
I hate to
Padres.
say it.
Yeah, everybody's
Absolutely the Padres. Yep. Absolutely.
Atlanta Braves.
Absolutely.
Number 4, the New York Yankees.
Of course, you can't say no to the Yankees. I mean,
You're darn
Of course.
right you can't. Not on this
Mhm.
podcast.
not on this podcast.
not on this podcast. Right.
Number 5, the Dodgers. Can they win the
No.
World Series?
No.
Okay.
Interesting.
We'll circle back to that. New York Mets. Can they win the World Series? 6 rank.
I have to say yes.
We agree.
Yeah, I
Number
mean, if things go the right way, of course, yeah, you could see him doing it.
Number 7, the Philadelphia Phillies.
No.
All right. Number 8, Toronto Blue Jays.
No.
We'll do 2 more teams real quick in case you say yes. St. Louis Cardinals at 9.
The thing about the Cardinals sometimes are like the Giants. Like you count them out, and all of a sudden they're there.
Right.
So
they just
I think
rip
on
off
a-
108 and
Right.
have like 10 new studs from
Right.
AAA show up. Yeah, I agree.
So I'm going to say in an off chance, I'm going to say I can see it for the
Sure.
Cardinals.
Okay.
Yep. We're just looking for the offest of chances. So
Yep.
great.
Yeah.
And then lastly, the number 10 Seattle Mariners. Can they
No.
win the World Series?
No.
That seems to be
Yeah.
where the rubber meets the road for
Yeah.
most people.
Yeah.
Any other teams I didn't mention that you want to throw in there? The Tampa Rays, Guardians, Brewers, Twins, Rangers.
We will not talk about the Rangers.
Okay.
We will not talk
Angels,
about
the
them.
other team that's kind
Absolutely
of everyone.
not.
Okay, thank you.
I know what the look. I know
Chicago
that.
White Sox.
Oh, come on, stop it.
Okay.
You're gonna put the Syracuse Mets in there too?
Oh,
Sky Chiefs, right?
no. That's back to.
Are we allowed to say that anymore? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, but it's the Syracuse. I mean, it was, but it's the Syracuse Mets. Look, I heard this hilarious story, which I just have to share about the Angels.
Before, do you have the tally of how many he picked?
Let's
6 and
see.
7.
I think I 7.
Yankees,
I think I picked 7.
Atlanta,
7.
the Mets, the Dodgers, the Astros.
I said no to 3. Yeah,
That's 5. The Padres, 6.
Mhm.
St.
Cardinals
Louis,
off chance.
7.
And 7. Yeah.
Yep. So I would think I was at 8. Everyone else has kind of been below us a little
Like
bit.
6. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's very telling, very interesting. The state of Major League Baseball.
Yep.
8 teams, maybe when you're pushing it, could win
Right.
it all.
Yeah.
Dave,
And
finish this up by regaling us with a story.
Yes. So the Angels, I heard this today, that the owner has said that the broadcast announcers will not be traveling with the team for road games.
I heard about this.
And yet they're going to try to pay
COVID leftover, right?
No, he just said they can't afford it, but they're going to try and pay, Shohei Ohtani $500 million.
But
That's
this
ridiculous.
started because
So you
none
can't-
of the broadcasters could travel during for the initial COVID protocols, and
Well,
I think
right.
they figured out they could get away with it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's what I mean by
Yeah.
this is where
Yeah.
it started. Yes, they're being cheap.
Oh,
and-
yeah, no doubt. But they're being cheap as can be. This is
Artie
a team
Moreno
that was
going to get run out of town on
was
a rail
up
car.
for sale and just about ready to be sold. And then Artie Moreno has a change of heart and says, no, I'm going to keep the team.
Right.
But then, oh, by the way, our announcers are going to, sit in, the Big A in Anaheim. I know it's not called that anymore. The Big A in Anaheim calling a game against the Orioles
Right.
on the road
That's nuts.
from the press
That's-
box.
Yeah.
So yeah, just lots of lovely things going on. But yeah, Tony, we always appreciate having you on. We joke about the little brothers that are the Mets, but that's what the big brother does. You always pick on the little brother, and
Rolling my eyes.
Yep. Yes. There's the eye roll.
I'm rolling my eyes.
Anyone who knows Tony, the eye roll is one of his classic all-time things. I wish we had it on video because
I have a GIF. I will find the GIF and send it to you.
because people, so many people over the years have just the eye roll has just become and Tony mentioned earlier, he's recently become a father, and congratulations to that. But he has already posted pictures of his son doing the
Baseball
side eye.
and that too.
He gets that from his dad, no doubt.
Yeah,
He wasn't born with that. He learned that from his
He learned that. Yeah, absolutely. I will
So
say
congratulations. I'll throw that in there too. Don't forget,
you.
Tony, to let us know about a potential blog you might have coming out.
Sure.
Where can we find you before we say goodbye real quick on the interwebs?
Well, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Latin Negro, 1 N. I haven't been as busy because obviously I haven't been as active because I've been busy.
Because you haven't been sleeping, right?
Yeah. So, but I think now that baseball season's here, you'll see me. I'm trying to go to some games. And I was going to say one final thing. It's up in the air if my son is going to be a Yankee fan or a Met fan. It really depends on which parent you talk to.
Oh, really?
Yes. So the rule here is that for every Met item I buy him, I have to buy a Yankee item.
Oh,
a
It's
gonna
fair
be-
rule, but what if
that-
outside influences get
that right
involved?
there
there
is
tit
gonna
for
be
tat
one of
situations?
the most painful
be
moments that you will
yeah.
have as a father. I mean, that's
Oh.
that's like saying I'm gonna buy Syracuse and Georgetown stuff for my kids.
Yeah, or Duke. But here's the thing, though, and the only other team he is allowed to root for is the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's the
Respect.
only other team.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what I really looked at, I was like, we keep messing around. He's going to be a Red Sox fan, and we're both going to hate it.
Oh God. Please,
My
please
son
no.
was
Please no.
for about 10 years between 8 and 18. And
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
he's 24 now and reformed, but he just
Oh, it was
he-
bad. It was bad. The Red Sox, the shirts, the sweatshirts, the
Oh,
hats.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
He loved to like try to hug me with his jersey on, and I
Uh-huh.
pretended he was gonna melt with acid and all that stuff. But
I'm really sorry.
no, actually, it was good fun. It really was
Yeah.
good fun, mostly because the Yankees until 04 were pretty dominant during that time. So
Right.
we went to a few games and the Yankees won every time we went and saw one live. So
Oh, I'm sure he
I
loved
was
that.
happy about that. Yeah, I'm sure he did too. But anyway, thanks,
All right.
gentlemen, both of you, for a great podcast. We enjoyed it. Check us out at Think Tank Sports at all your social media outlets and all your podcast delivery systems. Here at Think Tank Sports, where we think and you listen as we strive for 5. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.